My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty.
Welcome, Rhetta, today.
Thank you.
I have the great honor of bringing on my podcast, Rhetta Rowland. And Rhetta and I have known each other, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years. Is that about right? Maybe? Must be. And we know each other because she hired me as a coach, and then I hired her as a coach. And it turned out she's not only a coach, she's an astrologer. And who was it? Who's the woman, Christy Northrup, in her book about living simply? She's like, everybody get an astrologer. Like, if you're going to do life right, get yourself an astrologer. And I'm bringing on Rhetta because I think she's amazing at it. And I think people need to understand, if you're going to live a rich, beautiful life, you need to understand astrology, your astrology. So Rhetta, my question to you is, how did you first come across this?
Ooh, okay. Well, thank you. All right. Good to be here. Let's just start. How did I come across it? Was in a significant way, I came across it by being randomly seated by a Jungian analyst, archetypal astrologer at a Thanksgiving potluck dinner. And I had to say that was the luckiest day of my life, because it changed the trajectory of what I was to do from then on. And that was I'm going to say it was Thanksgiving of 2011.
Wow.
You know? And I just thought, this is the wildest thing I'd ever heard. Like, I thought, I had some judgment, thought it was ridiculous, but I had to ask a couple more questions, and before we got to dessert, I was completely hooked, and this was not getting out of my sight. I had to know more.
And what have you found out? What do you love about astrology?
I guess I love delving into the mystery. It's expanding and opening my world and my understanding. That's one aspect of it. Another, it's very self-focused, so it's helped me to see myself more honestly, to see my life as that there is a greater purpose to why I'm here. And it took a lot for me. It took a lot of the victimhood out of living.
Say more about that.
I had been in a state of thinking that what had happened to me in my early life was all just just bad luck, and then I was just set up for this kind of negative way of living. And then I saw it with astrology. It helped me really zoom out, go farther out, and see that things that had happened to me were all part of my evolutionary growth. It was part of my soul. If my soul came here, if I believe my soul came here to grow and learn and evolve, part of that would mean it has to have something to overcome. Maybe it didn't have to, but my story does. My story has that. And so with karma, it says, all right, karma, all right, set it up again. Set up the scenario so then I can respond differently. And in that responding differently is where my soul's evolving or how it evolves.
So when you say karma, what do you mean by that? I mean, I can kind of feel it, but I'm curious.
Yeah, it's and the way, and I think the way I talk about it in astrology is a little differently. So I mean by karma the kind of the habits and preferences that your soul comes in with, and some of these are fine and some things need to be shifted. So the karma I focus on for astrology is the karma of those bad habits that are harming you. Meaning like a bad habit, what I'm saying is if you have the karma to be drawn toward codependent situations. And so the soul has come to evolve to learn how to have relationships that are truly of more of an equal standing.
So if you think about my chart, what you've done for me, because you have, use me as an example right now, because I think it's, and then I can talk to it and help our listeners understand the power of this.
Okay. So in looking at your chart, one simple brushstroke of some karma that you've come in with is that of living from the head up, of living a life of emotional detachment. And there's probably a good reason for it. You might have been in a situation where it was just emotionally overwhelming. So your soul comes into this life where it longs to live more fully and more fully in the heart. So my guess would be your earlier life situations occurred that reinforced the need for you to live detached. And then now the growth for you, that reach goal is to stretch yourself and learn to drop into the heart and live from there.
Well, it's so funny because like, I love what you said earlier, because like people, if I look back at what happened earlier in my life, like I had been molested by a neighbor, raped by a neighbor, and had these kind of really horrific things happen. So really reinforcement, don't go inside my body, don't feel things, life is not safe. And I was also raised by my mother who said, nobody likes a whiner. And after my father died, you couldn't cry. So just an epicenter of, okay, good, we'll just live in the head or out of the body. Yeah. And then I remember somebody saying to me, oh, feel your feet on the ground. And I'm like, what do you mean? You can feel your feet on the ground?
Yeah.
And ever since then, my life has changed, becoming more and more aware of what it's like to feel inside my body and really feel things. So I think it's funny. So all those things that I used to think were so horrible were designed for me.
Yeah, I think it does sound kind of maybe horrible even to talk about on a real personal level. Like I am sorry that you went through that. And then also from 20,000 feet, it's like, oh, okay. You survived. And now with the way you live your life and how you're living, like this fully expressive, like embodiment of love.
Yeah, it's, I remember when I came to talk to you, it settled me. It settled me because I could think there was something wrong with me or my life if I didn't have the astrology.
Yeah, that's what it did for me too. It was a validating, and there's there's more. So there's this
say more.
more. So we kind of like hit this like, all right, check. All right, we're doing that one. And then so that's also what I love about it, is it doesn't end.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
I mean, it's impossible to know all of it or to have done everything on your evolutionary list. And in some ways that helped me relax and go, oh, I don't need to get it all done, because you can't get it all done.
Oh, wow. I like, my body just totally relaxed when you said that. Like, we can't get everything, all the lessons we're here to learn.
No, I don't.
Well, except those few that get really enlightened, but
Yeah. No, yeah, they have that. But and then it helped me also getting that that we're in this human form. And with knowing that means it's inherently flawed.
Mm.
And then that's also kind of getting into acceptance about that, or loving the beauty of that, not trying to fix it, change it, get better. Get away from it. It's like we're in these suits, these human suits.
Oh, wow. I just, it's almost what I feel when you're talking about it. It's like it almost gave you a reverence for being a human being, like the flawed human being or the struggling human being. It gave you a reverence for it.
Yeah. Yes. Whereas I had been coming at it like, find the flaw to fix it, change it, hide it.
Yeah.
But there are also like great benefits of being in this body, is that we do get to touch and taste and smell.
Rhetta, that is why what you're speaking to is what I love about being a human being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is I get to smell the lilacs. Mm-hmm. I get to notice the warm sun on my skin. I get to taste the beautiful juicy strawberry, or the homemade pizza, with the gooey fresh mozzarella.
Yeah.
And feel the presence of another human being when they touch my leg.
Right.
And laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And so, and that, I don't know, I took astrology to help me see that.
Now, how is this astrology different than the astrology like in the magazines or the
what we see a lot of, what we grew up with, magazines, and now I guess it's on Instagram and Facebook, and it's really even shortened to the memes. Usually what we're seeing in pop culture are it's just the sun sign astrology. And so that's just talking about where your sun was when you were born. Mm-hmm. What sign the sun was in. And when I look at a chart, I'm looking at where every planet was at the time you were born. And by every planet, I mean, I'm counting sun and moon as a planet for this conversation. And then go all the way out to Pluto. And each of those planets was in a sign, and they were in a house. And then they symbolize something. So it's like taking all these symbols and interpreting, and then coming up with what are the key messages here? So the sun, seeing your sun sign on Instagram, it's helpful. It tells you a little something. It's just leaving out a whole bunch.
Oh, wow.
The sun is the most important. If you think about, how it affects us in our lives day to day, you feel the sun, you sense the sun more than Pluto, on any given day. And the sun symbolizes what we need to feel alive and vital.
So give an example, like look at my sun, my chart, and give an example for my sun.
So you're a sun Libra.
Mm.
And so the essence of Libra is, I had to really like boil it down to something that I can put on Twitter. It's learning right relationship, how to be in equal, balanced relationship. And that, those are fuzzy terms, right? So and within that, so with that at its core, there are lots of strategies for doing that. It might mean you balance and work with the relationship of color, like you're an artist, or its relationship with people. Another core bit of it is Libra is seeking peace. It's really like,
Wow. We had talked about my daughter and her chart.
yeah.
And I can see why we're just diametrically opposed, because my daughter is here to stir things up,
Yeah.
ignite,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm all about peace. So today, Queen Elizabeth's husband died.
Yes.
And she was like, had something really feisty and to say about it. Mm-hmm. And it upset me so much, because I'm like, just because I think he was bigoted, or I don't know whether he was or not, but that was her concept. I'm like, oh no, hatred and bigotry don't help each other. They don't balance each other out. I had to say it doesn't help, because that's what I'm looking at. But she's not looking at that.
No.
At all.
No. And that's why you're right. It is challenging when the two are really in close contact with each other, right? But if you're like out and you're focused at the world, creating peace, and she's focused at the world of agitating, like it can handle that energy. But it's fire. She's fire with water. So fire, feisty, action, and deep. And you are this air flowing. It wants to create peace and balance and beauty, right?
And she is, I have to tell you, so for the listeners, so I've struggled with the relationship with my daughter all my life. I mean, my daughter is, when she was born, my mother, who has 16 grandchildren, when she was born, she said, good luck. I've never seen such strong energy in my life.
Really?
Oh yeah. And Maddie would, I mean, my favorite Maddie story is we had spent $300 and we got those safety locks in, so she couldn't open up the cupboards. Within 2 hours, she just ripped them all off. I mean, she's just this.
Yeah.
And she would climb around the back seat of the car. She figured out how to get out of the 5-point harness. And at 2 years old, I'm having to physically hold her center to get her back in. And she's kicking and screaming. I mean, and when I sent her to you and you told me about her sign, it relaxed me. I mean, I'll start to cry right now. It really, it made sense. It eased something in me, because you think as a parent that you're doing something wrong, or if there was something I could be better at, but just to see who she is relaxed me and understand it, because I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what she was here to do. And as far as I was concerned, she was here to be a pain in the ass to me, but great Mother of the Year award.
Yeah. And that is, it's like, it shows us what our nature, true nature, and that there's nothing wrong. Now there's still within that though, when your nature's revealed through astrology, there's still a range of responses. There's the low, low unconscious response to this energy. And then there's the whole range up to the high evolutionary lesson or objective. And so like with Libra energy, a low response, unconscious response would mean you want peace so badly that you'll do anything to have it. Mm-hmm. And that might come at your own expense. And that's, what we talk about in, codependence or somehow pushing your needs down to just in order to keep peace. And then it evolving to the highest is this sense that it's being able to live with paradox. Mm-hmm. The two great truths can exist. They may oppose one another, but can coexist.
And for our listeners, I got to tell you the truth of that. So mm-hmm. in hearing that with Rhetta, I had a husband with Alzheimer's and dementia, and we had a difficult family life because it wasn't peaceful at home. It was chaotic. There was a lot of yelling and upset. And at some point I had to say to him, I love you, but I can't live with you. I have to move you out. And that was the paradox. I loved him so much in my family. Mm-hmm. I was willing to make that move and disrupt the relationship for the peace of all.
Yes. Yes.
And that was the most painful, difficult thing I had to do in my life. Mm-hmm. Because I was dying on the vine, trying to be the right person who leaves a relationship, who doesn't take care of their spouse.
Right, right.
And I was dying on the vine.
Wow. I think that's the most beautiful and clear example of that I think I've ever heard. Because, often I'm telling you the range, but I have no idea what's going on in the client's life when I'm saying it. Mm-hmm. So to hear where it lands.
Well, and to see what the manifestation of it is.
Yeah.
And for years, I was in the low. I did let go of any need I had. Mm-hmm. I took care of the house, the kids, the major breadwinner, all of it. I sacrificed myself. And at some point I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. And then I made a choice to take care of him and make available myself for another relationship. And then I made it myself going, no, I can't have you in the home anymore. Mm-hmm. And paradox, I still loved him and wanted to care for him, but I had to. That was when you said that, I could feel both of those. And I hadn't seen that till right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny to have these conversations with you from this point of view, because I know you tell me this, but now I'm like, oh, I see it. Mm-hmm. We're both human beings can have a low unconscious automatic response, or we can wake up and choose.
Yes. Yes.
And when we choose, it seems to me that we're working on what you call our dharma, like the choice out of it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And adding to that, it's that you are, when you asked me earlier what the difference is and what we see in, the sun signs and Instagram, and I think one big difference is that they communicate astrology as you are a Libra. And the way with evolutionary astrology is you are becoming the Libra, or you are, it's hard to say with Libra, but let's say you're a Capricorn. I would say you are Capricorning. So you're learning the lessons of Libra.
Oh.
And so that was why with, earlier in life or whatever you might read, Libras, great at relationship, diplomatic, superficial. You're like, thanks. That was helpful. Then now knowing what those little bullet points were mean, you are learning the art of relationship and relating and creating balance, and as well as diplomacy. And you may be really early, have really underdeveloped diplomacy skills. Or there's some Libras that I think are highly diplomatic, so that's another thing, is two Libras won't be in the same place on this scale.
And through our lifetime, because I think about me as a young girl, like the way I would do friendships. In fact, probably why I'm such a great coach is I just sit and ask questions. And it's a way that I get to speak up. But when it becomes to friendships, I wouldn't say much. I'd just show up and listen the whole time. And then I'd get mad at them for never asking me questions. But I think it's them.
Yeah.
But I'm not the one who's showing up.
Right. Oh, yeah. And showing up and that's that going back to that equal, like, and it might be one day or one period of time, this friend's doing more talking, because, it's not we're not keeping a clock, but yeah, it's up to you to create the balance.
Yeah.
Meaning it's my turn to talk,
and that it's even okay for me to talk.
Yeah.
Like that's in the relationship. It's like to have enough relationship with myself.
Yeah. I'm looking up here. Just looking at your chart for other things. Because there's the the rising sign, which is usually represents how you first appear when someone first meets you. It's in a sense the mask you wear, or the personality you bring forward first. It's how because we've got so many voices and personalities going on within us. There's the one that you choose to present when you have to go to the cocktail party, the job interview. And for yours, it is it's Aquarius. So it is that of one who stands out as different, the iconoclast, the little bit of a rebel, and can have kind of a cool, detached energy. But see, and also like you'll see the world through this lens. So it's seeing the world through the lens of someone, like you see it differently. The one who thinks outside of the box.
Well, and that's true. I mean, that's like this whole thing of love of energy. I mean, I've been loving energy for, since somebody said, feel your feet on the ground. And then I heard Abraham Hicks say, well, if you understood energy, you would understand everything. And I thought, okay, I'm in. And nobody was doing that. There was only one yoga studio in Oakland, and that was Rodney Yee. And I found that. I found all the bizarrest things in the world. And I'm talking to somebody who, on the front line of this, using astrology.
Yeah.
Like part of I've been seeing an acupuncturist regularly for 20 years. And there was only, it was such a bizarre thing.
So, the being, the first to do something, but also being weird, kind of being on the, weird in a good way,
Yeah, weird is following your own spiritual path. That's the etymology. If you look up, I'm pretty sure that's it. If you look up weird in the etymology, it's following your own spiritual path. It's being guided by spirit.
Yeah, I love saying, when I say it, I mean it with such love and affection, and I have to watch how it lands sometimes. So what else?
Well, let me ask you this. If you had somebody What are the other benefits? Like, is there, you talked about, like, I can tell myself that I relaxed around my daughter. So parent-child relationships. I started looking at life that it wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. Is there one other benefit that you have seen that people, how this has impacted people? I mean, not that that's not enough, like those two, like, really.
Other one, and the one that kind of got me into doing this as a career, was helping people find their purpose. And your purpose is not always your career. I want to get that clear. But for some people, they are aligned. And so the chart can remind people of that. That one got you, huh?
I just had never heard you, purpose doesn't mean your career, because I think people associate that.
And I know I did initially too. I wanted that to be the answer. I wanted to be able to get the chart and tell you what you need to do as your job. And so as I've studied and my astrology has evolved, I get that they're not the same. Or it might not be what you do to earn money, is what I mean. Like, your purpose may be to create a loving, nurturing home. That's a huge job. And I can't even say how important that is. I don't have the right adjectives aren't coming to my mind right now, but it's so important. Doesn't mean you're gonna make a dime at it.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. But I have had people come to me, and as we're going through their evolutionary lessons and talking about the purpose, it has clicked in with what they're going to do as a vocation. And I guess I also want to make sure I'm making clear that often they already knew this. It was a whisper, it was a hunch, the seed was in there, and the astrology either reminded them of, like, I've had people say, oh, when I was a teenager, I wanted to do that. I had one who said as a teenager, she would clean the house and pretend she was on a cleaning talk show.
What? Oh my God. Wow.
And like just knowing like how to efficiently clean the home, but also do it in an entertaining way. And then this woman went on to be quite an executive, an SVP of marketing in a Fortune 50 company, a McKinsey consultant, like big, just doing really well in business. And she now has left all that. And what she does is create sustainable kitchen pantry systems. She makes the kitchen beautiful, it's environmentally sustainable, and she's done a TEDx talk on it. And
wow.
Book. And so she was the one that she would kind of hit a point in her career, wanted to do something different, wasn't sure what it was, looking at the chart. A lot of stuff is pointing to the home, but big out in the world, like CEO to the world. It's a movement.
Oh, wow.
And I just, so it was a little ember reminding her of, and it,
what it reminds me of, what it looks like is, like there's all these, like life gives us like fortune cookies, or it gives us like signposts or like little remembrances all around our life. But we get caught up in our head and think what it should look like. Mm-hmm. Like we're listening to the cultural thinking rather than just paying attention to what's touching us.
Yes.
What's moving us.
Yes. Yes.
And what you're doing, like with people, if the benefit of it, and is that if people can stop listening to their thinking, they can start to see how life is always working on their behalf, and it's always showing you. And you're just like, here are the arrows, look in this direction.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, astrology is just one tool.
Mhm.
If someone can take a leap to believe that this language of symbols, that there's a message for you in here,
Mhm.
that it can remind you of that. But it's not the only way.
But sure is a fun way.
It's fun, and I think it's fast. If you're open and can listen, it can tell you stuff quickly. Just sometimes we're not ready to hear not ready to hear that message yet.
Yeah. We're not willing to let go of our cultural thinking and our concepts and ideas.
Yes, that's
Because
it.
it's radical. I know for my life and what I did when I really listened, it was radical. It wasn't the like, it looked like I was blowing a bomb up in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I was really taking care of my evolutionary thing, but a lot of people around me weren't happy with what move I made.
No.
But I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you knew you were clear. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, we met
Before
just
all this happened.
before.
We met before all this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right before I blew everything up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And it was a transformation, right? Yeah, because we're also the area of in your chart that's activated, meaning
Sirens.
urban
Yes.
urban life. So if all right, so you shine and you'll feel vital, more vital when you're doing Libra like things, which would mean things around art, beauty, working with one-on-one, or just being one-on-one conversation, things that feel like you're bringing balance and peace.
Okay, well, I just have to tell everybody who's ever listening to this, if you're wise, call Rhetta. I've gotten so much out of this conversation. When you just said you like one-on-one conversation, like, it just made me relax. Why I don't like to do big groups. It's because I like the intimate.
Yeah.
That's where the luxury is. And I just had never heard that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so Rhetta,
Yes.
we're running out of time.
Yes.
I love this conversation. I want people to find you. So where can they find you? And we'll put it up at the end so people can find you. But where do you want to point them?
I would point them to rhettarowland.com.
Okay, spell it just to make sure. www.
And it's Rhetta, RHETTA. Rowland is ROWLAND.com. And information about my work, and you can schedule a session.
And it's worth every cent and all the time in the world. Rhetta is a true gem. I can't thank you enough, Rhetta.
Oh, thank you, Anna Scott. Love you.